Guys, once again, it's rather cold out here. Not quite as bad as last week, but still pretty cold. And I'm going to put together a tank for you. Quick mention here, this is kind of dangerous. As you can see here, I've already taken the valve off. That's what the valve looks like on the inside. This is the new tanks. The old tanks are much different. But basically, you need to make sure this is absolutely empty of propane. This one was sitting outside, previously emptied, but I put a hose on it, turned it on, and just let it sit there for about 2 weeks. There could still be a little bit of gas left in the tank, but I felt safe enough to do this. So just keep that in mind if you feel like doing this as well. Quick mention on these. This top is where the let me see if I can get light here. Probably not. Top here is where the actual valve handle sits. This is a reverse thread. Inside here is a reverse thread. I'm not sure about the safety valve, but that might be a reverse thread as well. However, the piece where the valve meets the tank is a standard 3/4 inch, which makes it real easy to then put a standard 3/4 inch fitting on the top. If you're watching this video, you've probably seen a few others that talk about just simply having to pull this thing out again. Screw it. Here, I'll show you with this one. They talk about fittings that you can just put in here. It's got an adapter, and that works. If you want to go that route, go for it. I personally don't like that idea. I prefer starting from scratch, essentially, and putting my own valves and stuff on. Although putting an adapter on is the safer way to go. Quick note about Teflon tape. If you're not familiar with it, try to go with putty. I don't know if I have. I do have some around somewhere. I just can't remember where I put it. It comes in a tube. Kind of looks, I don't know, kind of looks like a glue stick maybe. It's usually white or gray. And if you're doing this in the summertime, that's absolutely the way to go. For the winter though, because it's just cold out, I'm using Teflon tape. But for gas, like air is a gas, try to go with the putty. But with the tape, what you want to do is start it. You want to start it for the Teflon tape. What you want to do is start it and run it the same direction as the threads. So you can see the thread starts here and then goes around. So you want to follow your threads. You can start at the top, you can start at the bottom. It doesn't really make a difference. But you gotta get it to stick. Once it's around once, you probably won't have to hold on to it anymore. This is becoming a mess. Try to pull it as tight as you can, but don't pull it so tight that it rips. And I like to go around so there's 3 layers. I'll do one more. There we go. And then smooth it out. Make sure it doesn't catch when you put it in. The thing with Teflon tape too is you can't screw it in overly tight. Like for Teflon tape, tight is not better. I've actually found just past finger tight is usually good. big enough. There we go. I usually go, like, I refund it as hard as I can, and then I take it basically another between a quarter and a half turn. If you're looking for a foot-pound rating, I would probably put it around somewhere between 30 and 50 foot-pounds. So, like I said, not a whole lot. All right, I'm going to put the rest of this together, and if I happen to come across anything I think I should mention, I will turn the camera back on. So I'll see you guys in a second. All right, guys, got it all put together, and I'm currently charging it from the hose right here. My other tank was completely empty, so I'm putting air into both at the same time. It's going to take quite a while, so I won't make you sit through all of that. I'll just come back when it's finished. But let's turn it so you can see what's going on. Valve here. I don't know if you can hear the air moving into it right now. I shut it off so you didn't have to listen to that sound the whole time, but it seems to be okay. What do I got in it right now? I got between 30 and 40 psi in it right now, and at that point is usually when you start to hear air leaks. Big air leaks will be obvious at the beginning, but this is when the small air leaks really start to show. And yeah, I'm not hearing any air, and I'm not hearing any change in any sounds. It's one thing I like to do. You put your hand over it, and even if it's a sound you don't hear at first, when you put your hand over it, you'll change that sound, and it'll become very obvious that there's a leak right there. And then you can go in and you can tighten it. Quick mention about the T. I told you about torquing down the fittings. What I do with the T's, because usually they have to be lined up with a specific orientation. What I do with them is I tighten them as hard as I can with my hand, and then I just line them up with my wrench. There's no specific torque. I just sort of line them up as best as I can. In this case, it doesn't really matter because it's a circle and a circle, but I did want it sort of lined up with this top part. Same with the valves. I'll tighten it as much as I can with my hand, and then I'll just twist it around so that it's in line with what I want. These nipples, these aren't closed nipples. These are, I don't remember what size. I think there might be 2-inch nipples, but yeah, I'm going to pause and let you all giggle at the word nipple. But to tighten them, all I do is I thread them into one side, thread the thing on the other, and then I tighten it. I don't actually tighten these at all unless they're longer, like this one on the bottom. That's it for now. I do want to talk to you about my compressor because I've made a few modifications, but I think that'll wait till next week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off, wait until this guy is fully charged, and then I'm going to give you a quick last look at it, and we'll call that a video. So I'll be back in a second. I'm sorry, just one more quick thing. I'm using this Teflon tape. It's just generic Teflon tape made not necessarily made by, but marketed by Rona. It's a 1/2 inch wide. They do come in different thicknesses. I've seen them in 3/8. I've seen them in 5/8. You might be able to get them in smaller sizes, 1/4 inch, if you go to a specific place. But this stuff seems to work okay, and all I do is I put one width on the the threads. You can see it's sticking up. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but it's sticking up there. It's sticking out from all here, and that's just one width. So these pipe threads only go into each other by about 3/8 of an inch. So just to give you an idea of if you're taping something up, that's basically what you need. So it got a little dark out, but hopefully you can still see what's going on here. I don't know if this is still plugged in. Yep. That's a touch better. I've got it charged up to, I think, about 90 psi at this point. The valve's off. And I don't hear any air escaping. Let's put you near the near it here. The sound you do hear is my compressor over there. I'm doing some little tinkering with it, but I don't hear any hisses. So it looks like it worked out okay. And like I said, it's rather cold. I'm wearing like 7 layers here. This tank is almost 20 years old. You guys have yourselves a good day.